as a moderator. My name is Dr. Ibrahim. Together with me is supposedly Professor Dr. Norhasni Zainal Abiddin, both of us from Malaysia, from the Defence University Malaysia. Our topic of our presentation is optimizing workplace productivity in Malaysia, the synergistic effects of incentive, motivation, and working environment. To the next slide, please. We can see from the introduction, the background is about improving workplace productivity is crucial for organizations in Malaysia to stay competitive, where incentive, motivation, and working environment are the key factors influencing productivity. And limited research exists on the synergistic effects of these factors, especially in the Malaysian context. And referring to the research objective, there is three that I'd like to share with all of you, where the first one is investigate the impact of incentive, motivation, and working environment on workplace productivity in Malaysia organization. Second, analyze the synergistic effects and interplay between incentive, motivations, and working environment in driving productivity in Malaysia. And the third one is provide practical recommendations for Malaysian organization to optimize workplace productivity based on the optimal combinations of this factor. And from this introduction, we are expected outcome is the result will influence the performance of industries, organizations, and companies in Malaysia, and recommendations will help enhance employee performance and ensure organization achieve their goals and serve. And the third one, to serve as a basis for future studies on productivity in similar industrial setup worldwide. Now I would like to go to the third slide, which is literature review. We're referring to this interactions effect, where limited research on combined or interactions effects of incentive, motivation, and working environment in Malaysia. That's first. Second, incentive design should consider work nature, organizational culture, and employee characteristics. And the third is incentive have a stronger effect when coupled with intrinsic motivation and favorable working environment in Malaysia manufacturing industry. And the third comprehensive approach exploring interaction effects is important for enhancing productivity. This is the thing where it reflects to the COVID-19 response from the literature review that have been shared in the throughout the slide, where organizations should change practices. Because of the COVID-19 response, organizations should change practices to improve productivity during the pandemic. Malaysian organization that provided necessary resources, support, and communication channel maintain productivity and employee well-being during COVID-19. This is under the written Carl et al. 2021. And Malaysian organization can enhance worker productivity through evidence-based approaches, considering the interaction effects of incentive, motivation, and working environment while adapting to challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. To the next slide, which is methodology. And this study employed a quantitative cross-sectional survey design to examine the relationships between incentives, motivation, working environment, and productivity among Malaysian employees from various sectors. And looking at this the slide, the sample size of 300 was determined using power analysis, and certified random sampling was used to ensure representation of different subgroups of employees, where data were collected using an online survey questionnaire adapted from validated instruments. And the analysis included, first, descriptive statistic; second, reliability and validity assessment; third, correlation analysis; fourth, and multiple regression analysis using SPSS software. And referring to the slide 2, the study adhered to ethical considerations such as informed consent, anonymity and confidentiality and obtain approval from the necessary institutional review board before commencing. The next slide, please, which is to answer objective 1, to investigate the impact of incentive, motivation, and working environment on workplace productivity in Malaysian organization. Table 1, means and standard deviation of study variables. Based on this table 1, the average score suggests that employees generally have positive perceptions of incentive, looking at the mean 4.12 and standard deviation 0.79. And you can see motivation, working environment, and productivity is within their organization. And here, motivation stands out as the strongest factor with the highest mean score and relatively low standard deviation, indicating a consistently high level of motivation among employees. And the working environment, although perceived positively, shows the highest standard of deviation, suggesting a wider variation in employees' perception compared to the other variables. And productivity levels, looking at the table, align closely with the perceptions of incentive and working environment with a moderate standard deviation, indicating some variation in perceived productivity among employees. And the descriptive statistic, reading to the table 1, reveal overall positive perception of incentive, motivation, working environment, and productivity among employees with motivation being the strongest factor looking at the standard deviation. However, there is some variation in this perception, particularly regarding the working environment. Next slide. We're referring to this, the table 2, correlations among study variables. We can see the correlation analysis in table 2 reveals significant positive relationship among incentive, motivation, working environment, and productivity. And the strongest correlation is between motivation and productivity, R, which is relationship 0.51, indicating that higher motivation levels are closely linked to increased productivity. And moderate positive correlation exists between incentive and productivity, which is the relation R, which is 0.45, and working environment and productivity are equivalent to 0.41, suggesting that improvement in this area can also lead to higher productivity levels. Next slide, please. This objective 2, to analyze the synergistic effects and interplay between incentive, motivation, and working environment in driving productivity in Malaysian context. Table 3 shows that hierarchical multiple regression analysis predicting productivity, and multiple regression analysis and interaction effects shows that the model significance. The model explains a significant proportion of the variance in productivity R2 0.45 and frequency 7.89. And the main effect after controlling for demographic shows that incentive, there's a positive significant on productivity. Motivation, also significant positive effective on productivity. Working environment, also significant positive effect on productivity. Interactions effect, they suggested that the impact of incentive on productivity is stronger when employees are highly motivated, where incentive and working environment not significant, motivation and working environment which is not significant. And the implication from this table 3, it shows that implement strong incentive system, ensure high work motivation, maintain a conducive working environment, leverage the symbiotic relationship between incentive and motivation to maximize productivity. Next slide, please. And this slide shows the study, the relationship between incentive, motivation, working environment, and workplace productivity in Malaysian organization. And the finding revealed that employees had a positive perception of these factors, and there was a directly proportional relationship within productivity. And multiple regression analysis confirmed that motivation was the most important factor, followed by incentive and working environment. And the study also found that incentive played a direct role in enhancing productivity and had an indirect impact through motivation and working environment. And looking at this slide too, the practical recommendations emphasize the importance of a holistic approach to organizational processes, considering the interaction of motivational, incentivized, and environment-driven factors. And the finding demonstrate a symbiotic relationship and a non-linear effect of incentive, motivation, and working environment on productivity in the Malaysian setting. And here, as a conclusion, organizations should focus on these factors, particularly the interaction between incentive and motivation, to enhance employee productivity. And this last slide, as a conclusion, the study confirms the positive impacts of incentive, motivation, and working environment on workplace productivity in Malaysian organization, both individually and collectively. And the current study explore the importance of incentives, motivation, and working environment on workplace productivity among Malaysian organizations, revealing positive individual and collective impact. And throughout the findings emphasize the importance of an integrated approach, including aligning incentive system with organizational objective and employee need, fostering intrinsic motivation through job design and empowerment, maintaining supportive working conditions, and continuously monitoring and optimizing this factor. Despite limitation as a cross-sectional design and productivity measurement using scale, the study provides a basis for designing targeted interventions and strategies to improve workplace productivity in the Malaysian context. And the study reiterates the independence of employee incentive, motivation, and working environment in promoting workplace productivity, and future research can further explore the implication of these interaction factors to drive organizational success. And last but not least, by following this recommendation, Malaysian organization can develop a comprehensive model for increasing workplace productivity, considering the combined influence of incentive, motivation, and working conditions, ultimately achieving sustainable performance and worker satisfaction. With that, me, Dr. Ibrahim, together Professor Dr. Norhasni from Defence University would like to conclude the presentation. With that, thank you very much.